his job, his daily assignment, is to deal with matters relating to what's happening in the courts. I hear that the Chief Justice has made it a point to have someone monitor the segment of the morning show, to send a report to her every morning. Why? Because he makes sure that the right perspectives are put out on a regular. I dare say that if there's any award to be given for the best court reporter this year, it can be none other than the Kuko Krachi, the one with the punk, Minu Mutala Inusa. That's all I gotta say in introducing my brother. My brother, good morning.
Francis, good morning.
How you doing, sir?
Have you at some point in time been a poet before?
No, sir.
Oh, really?
No, sir.
Were you a literature student?
Literature?
Yes.
Yes, I was.
You were? Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes. I was a literature student.
I can now.
Maybe I'm reaching the literary devices without checking.
I can now understand. Yes, I can now understand. All these words for me.
All for you.
Describing one person. Today is Friday.
Yes, so.
And I'm enjoying your costume. Who are you?
Really?
Yes.
Oh, this is actually an old shadow.
And it's still looking like.
Hey, I mean.
It's still fresh. And you're also looking very fresh.
I am.
You're looking very fresh and all that. Okay. So, today is Friday. We are not going to go the hard way. Yesterday, Mr. Jakpa, yes, Mr. Jakpa was in court, and very interesting court section. If you ask me about what happened yesterday in relation to this very case, so prosecution is still going through the process of discrediting Mr. Jakpa on the kind of things that he said, the kind of allegations that he's made on all that. But just before I start yesterday, you noticed that the last court sitting, I did tell you about the fact that Justice Ifiasewa Saribuchi made certain orders, and one of them was to the effect that, look, national security should get closer to investigate circumstances leading to the recording, unsanctioned audio recording. Somebody recorded the proceedings and was making waves on social media and all that. So the courts asked it, deemed it fit to instruct national security to investigate. Yesterday, everything was telling. Just around 11 o'clock, you notice that the scenes, the atmosphere, the euphoria around the court started to change. And why did it change? Change because you see uniformed men arriving in groups. And anybody who is around will realize that these people, what are they doing here? Because you barely see them that way. Every court you go, there are court warrant officers there. So why this time around, then it dawned on us that it was based on that particular incident that happened. So yesterday, virtually everybody who entered the courtroom was scrutinized, thoroughly scrutinized. And not everybody is also allowed or was allowed yesterday to enter. If you are following a big man, the big man will enter, and then the followers, you have to find a way or somewhere and wait for that person. So that was the kind of thing that happened yesterday up until 12 o'clock when Justice Ifiasewa Saribuchi's court sat on. The court was ready, and Justice Ifiasewa Saribuchi came in. And then the cross-examination happened in two folds. The first part started by the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Chiayeboa. And you notice that at all points in time, it has been the Director of Public Prosecution, Mrs. Yvonne Atakra Obobisa, who has been doing the cross-examination for the team. Even though the Attorney General will be present, even though the two deputies, Diana Sanabadapa and Alfred Chiayeboa, and other state prosecutors, by the Director of Public. Yesterday, the DPP wasn't present in court. So at a point in time when the matter started, it was the Mr. Alfred Chiayeboa who started. And the focus of his cross-examination was in relation to, you notice that Mr. Jakpa made certain allegations. One of them is that the Attorney General told him that he was under pressure from President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the then Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to ensure that by first week of May, Dr. Kasira Tuforti should be convicted and sentenced so that there will be a by-election in his constituency, and the MPP will push in money to be able to win that seat. And when that happens, they will win majority in parliament, and they will say that yes, the MPP has been able to win the minority leader seats. That was the point of the prosecution, that the Attorney General didn't say that. Mr. Jakpa said the AG told him in the house of his cousin, Justice Yoni Kolendi, when they had earlier had a banter, and told the cousin that he doesn't want to come to his home and see the Attorney General there. But he went there and saw him, and he got angry. But the AG walked up to him and made that point to him. Then there was another point about the same leg of the allegation that he had described the people of Central Region or Fantis as cheap, because once they pump in money, they will be able to buy, have their way through so that they win that election. That one, the prosecution claim was that it was a figment of Mr. Jakpa's own imagination. He said, no, it wasn't. The Attorney General made that particular assertion to me. Then you notice the contents of the audio recording. There was a point that it been made that it's a 26-minute recording, and Mr. Jakpa only brought between 15 to 16 minutes out to come and play. Prosecution contend that, and a cross-examination, that he took away portions that didn't go in his favor and brought the other parts that will make his case nice. But Mr. Jakpa refused that claim, says that, look, at a point in time when he was on his way to meet his lawyer, and on his way the Attorney General called him, and when they were having a conversation, he noticed that the kind of submission, or the kind of the line of Attorney General submission, were criminal in nature. That's in his word. And so he thought that if the AG is coercing me in this manner, which is a criminal advances, then let me record him. So it was when he started recording, he made his mind to record. That's how can you see 26 minutes, but he was able to put 15 to 16 minutes on tape. So that is to explain that particular point.
So wait, just a small line. So for the ones who recorded the court proceedings, what became of them?
So we don't know the outcome of the national securities investigation as far as the court directive is concerned. But the court also made the point that subsequently nobody should record. If that happened again, it means that nobody wants to take part in the trial. The case will be heard in camera. And in camera means that the accused persons, the two accused persons, their lawyers, and the court staff, not even the media, will be allowed. So that was made clear by Justice Efia Sewa Saribuju. So up until now, we still do not know who recorded. We still do not know what had become of that directive from the court for national security to investigate. But what was telling, or what was clear yesterday, was that there was a step taken, and that step was that national security persons and some military officers were present in court. They manned the security, the entrance of the courtroom. When you are, they scrutinize you, your phone, your bag, everywhere, your pockets, and make sure that you are safe or you are okay before you enter. And if you are coming in with large people, large followers, you only get to enter, and your followers won't have the opportunity. So yesterday, in terms of the large numbers, the courtroom was full though, but you see a lot of people out there and all that. So that's how the aspect of the recording, the unsanctioned recording that was brought to the attention of Justice Efia Sewa, is spanning at the moment. So that was one of the things that I pointed out. So the cross-examination in respect of the audio, the conversations that Mr. Jakpa had with Attorney General, all of them was dealt with by the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Chiayebwa. Then when we were looking forward for a continuation, because the court had indicated that the time that the case was, so somewhere around almost 2, then the Deputy Attorney General indicated that at this particular point in time, I may want to hand over to the Attorney General to take it off. And quite interesting. Everybody was like, oh, now is the turn of AG. AG is having a face-to-face with Mr. Jakpa. Now, personal, now it's going to be personal, because Mr. Jakpa in the witness box has always been contending, let the man come and sit here, let him talk, let him swear to an oath so that he will talk. If he lie on oath, the court can deal with him and all that. He cannot be sitting somewhere and then be passing questions and answers. You yourself, you are here. You are the one that I'm talking to. Come inside and talk. So at a point in time when the Deputy Attorney General is even asking questions, Mr. Japa will make the point that the Attorney General is talking to his deputy and he's interacting with him. And so he has a problem with that. The court will have to come in, and at the point that the lawyers will also come in, banter left, right, and then the court will have to calm down nerves and all that. So yesterday, it took that moment until the Attorney General took over, Godfred Yeboah-Dame. But interestingly, we were hoping that Godfred Yeboah-Dame was going to confront Mr. Japa on the allegations that were made. You remember that Justice Efia Sewa-Sariboche, during the ruling or the rulings on the 4 applications filed by the accused person, including the one seeking for a retrial, the court, in fact, advised the Attorney General that it will be prudent, because to have a conversation with an accused person, the court felt that it would be prudent for him to not involve himself directly in the prosecution of the case. So when the Attorney General was called upon, the courtroom at the point in time was very quiet and people were looking around and all that. And then he started. But interestingly, he never made any points about the conversation with Japa, the conversation with the audio, nothing of that sort. His focus was on the contract issue. So Mr. Japa was confronted with a letter that the military high command at the time signed or wrote to him to dismiss him. And if you read the content of that, and so he gave that to Mr. Japa to read. And Mr. Japa says that that particular document was coming to his attention for the first time. It's an alien. In fact, he described it as an alien document. So it was brought to him. Nobody gave him a copy. Nobody saw. He has never seen it anywhere, and all that. So for them, he felt that they don't know where this document is coming from. He had a very tough time with the Attorney General. In fact, before that, the Deputy Attorney General also took Mr. Japa on the seal of notice that the document that they are talking about, he said there was a certain seal of the minister which suggested that it was, he gave authorization for the letter of credit to be issued, the controller and all that. What the AG or the Deputy AG sought to do was to create the impression that, look, that seal on it was a seal that was, the stamp and all that you see was a deputy, honorable deputy minister. But Mr. Japa says that he doesn't see after the honorable, he doesn't see the other word, but he can see minister for finance. So the contention was that, look at this document, you see that there is a certain word which starts with D, and D means deputy. So in this point, the deputy AG was saying that it was a seal of the deputy finance minister. Mr. Japa says that the document was not too clear, so it was difficult for him to see. All that he could see was Honorable Minister for Finance. So at the point in time, they show him another document, say, look at it. After the Honorable, what word can you see? He said, I can see D. So the Deputy Attorney General put it. That D there means deputy. They said, that I cannot say. What I can say is what I am telling the court. So that ended on that leg. And the Attorney General also came in. And in fact, as part of his cross-examination of Mr. Japa, he pointed out the issue of Mr. Japa receiving some 700,000 euros as part of the deal that was struck. And his point was that that particular amount of money represents 28.7%. Mr. Japa said, look, that particular money is not even less, because government breached certain contracts, breached certain steps that were supposed to have been taken. And that money, it's not like a commission that was paid. It involved commissions, it involved fees, it involved remuneration, and it involves certain charges and all that. So if you look at the sum as it is and think that he took that money and based on because of his a cut or some percentage to him, he said no. It involved a lot of transactions, a lot of items that you have to look at it for you to be able to appreciate that. So he's been denying all those things, but admits at a point that, yes, if you look at the transaction, it didn't go through parliamentary approval, it didn't receive some processes that he has to go on in relation to that when he was confronted with certain documents and all that. But he said, look, the kind of document that the Attorney General is confronting me with, it looked like the AG himself didn't understand the kind of transaction that we are talking about. the document he's confronting him with is not document that the Attorney General should use to confront him in the manner in which it did. The AG had a contention that at the time that Mr. Jakpa started negotiating for this ambulance, or the party started negotiating for that, his company has not even been formed. So on what basis do you negotiate? What company are you using it to? And Mr. Jakpa said, if you are going through that tangent, you will get it wrong. So for him, he felt that he's offered some education to the Attorney General and all that. But after the court sitting yesterday, we've been having some reactions from the parties or in this very case, including Mr. Jakpa himself. But first, let's go and hear from Sami Gyamfi. Sami Gyamfi is the National Communications Officer of the NDC. So let's hear from him after the court sitting yesterday.
As the Dishonorable Attorney General Godfred Yeboah Dame has consistently demonstrated or displayed, today you saw a display of ignorance and illiteracy on very basic things that you expect a person who occupies such high office, to understand. But before I go into those issues, it's important for us to respond to certain reckless and irresponsible comments that have been made by the Dishonorable Attorney General Godfred Yeboah Dame. I'm sure that over the last few days you've seen videos of the Attorney General somewhere in London, in the United Kingdom, claiming that the case of the accused persons have crumbled under cross-examination. It is important to put it on record that the only person whose case has crumbled, the only person who has been exposed as a crooked character, a dishonorable character, and a liar throughout the proceedings is not Mr. Jakpa, neither is it Honorable Ato Forsen, but rather Godfred Yeboah Dame. You would recall that when Mr. Jakpa dropped his bombshell of 23rd May 2024 and asserted in open court under oath that the Attorney General has sought to coerce and impress upon him to implicate the Honorable Ato Forsen, the Attorney General issued a press release. And in that press release, he was categorical that he has not met or contacted or sought the cooperation of any of the accused persons. He was categorical. It's been established beyond every reasonable doubt that that claim by the Attorney General was palpable falsehood. He lied. Because he himself has indeed confirmed in open court that contrary to what he stated in that press release, he's been meeting Jakpa at odd hours. He's been calling him. He's been texting him. Yet, he claimed to the media that he had not at any point in time made contact with Mr. Jakpa or any of the accused persons. You will also recall a claim by the spokesperson of the Attorney General that the Attorney General was entrapped. He never set out to meet Mr. Jakpa anywhere, but that it was a Supreme Court judge who sought to meet him at his residence only for him to be ambushed by Mr. Jakpa. That has also turned out to be a lie.
So that's Sami Gyamfi. What did the AG have to say for himself yesterday?
So yesterday, the Attorney General himself did not speak to us. It was his spokesperson, Mr. Isaac Wilberforce-Mensah, and he has this to say in reaction to what happened yesterday.
That's exactly what it was. It was an advice, and the Attorney General did indeed consider the advice, and based on certain considerations, it was very necessary for him to come to court today. And the fact that he was in court today and what transpired in court today, it has become very, very, glaring to anybody who was in court that indeed his cross-examination was very necessary because it unearthed certain things. For instance, that Mr. Jakpa himself, and this, I'm not going into the merits of the issue, but I'm just saying things that were said in court today to prevent some narrations that actually did not take place in court. So, for instance, it is clear that Mr. Jakpa himself admitted on oath that he benefited through Jakpa at business or his company. He benefited some 700,000 euros which is something many people did not know. There's some 700,000 euros, representing 28.7% of the entire amount. The entire amount is about, I think, 2.39 million euros in all. So 28.7%, about 700,000 Ghana cedis. Now, Mr. Jakpa himself also, in making reference to his contract with Big C, also stated that he was entitled to 10% of the sales. Now 10%, and the fact that in actual fact he benefited 28.7% means that, and according to him, he also stated earlier in court that aside the 10% that he was entitled to, he was also entitled to any markup he puts on the product. So there's been an extra amount, which is about twice the 10% he's entitled to. And remember that all these money paid are not monies gained from anywhere. These are taxpayers' money. This is your money, this is my money. So 700,000 euros was spent on this. And this is what the Honorable Attorney General...
Okay, so that's Wilberforce, Mensah.
Mensah, yes, the spokesperson for the AG, the Attorney General, also giving us that perspective from what happened yesterday. But the man of the moment, Mr. Richie Jakpa, and in throughout my court reporting experiences and all that, in fact, he's the second person that I have seen who is still in the dock, I might say.
Mm-hmm.
And every now and then, when he had the opportunity, he still speaks his mind. Yes. The first is Oliver Barker Vamau.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Oliver Barker? Oliver is in the dock. He's facing the charges of a treason felony, two counts of treason felony.
Yes.
But he's still, anytime you have him, he speaks his mind and all that. That is the frame that you find Mr. Richie Jakpa. Yesterday, after the court sitting, yes, we had some engagement with him, and he said, look, all these documents the Attorney General is producing, all the things that they are confronting with are all a plot to use their people to come at me.
Mm-hmm.
And he, in fact, in some strong-worded word for the Attorney General, Mr. Richie Jakpa had this to say.
Let's hear you. I want to correct some misconception and mischief that is the Attorney General and the government have created, and using their surrogate media houses to be peddling falsehoods, twisting proceedings of the court, and then bringing out evidence that I have no idea about and trying to put it on me. I want to address that. The Attorney General brought a pile of documents to the court about my military career. I left the military about 17 years ago. Now he brought a document purporting that I have committed certain crimes according to the letter. In fact, that letter, I was not copied. I have no knowledge of that letter. And that letter are allegations that are unsubstantiated, unfounded, and I was never confronted with it by the military 17 years ago. And that letter is purported to have been written by one Brigadier General Ahiaglo. In fact, I know Brigadier General Ahiaglo. He's dead. He's deceased years ago. And he wrote that letter on behalf of the Chief of Army Staff, who was by then Major General Odote. So Brigadier General Ahiaglo was a staff officer to the Chief of Army Staff. So he wrote on behalf of the Chief of Army Staff. So this unfounded allegation that I was never confronted with, I was never made known of, a secret report document that they wrote to the Chief of Staff of the Ghana Armed Forces, who reports to the Chief of Defense Staff, the CDS. I have no knowledge about it. In fact, today is the first day I saw that letter, dated, I think,